So when it comes to algorithms, with the material that we covered, we're just barely scratching the surface. For example, one of the first algorithms that we covered was linked list. And if you were to go and do a little research on linked list, you'll see that there's quite a bit of types of linked list. There's multiply linked list, circular linked list, and this also applies to several other algorithms. So things get really overwhelming because you might not know which direction to go, what to focus on, what's important, what's not. So I want to go ahead and suggest a couple of things. One is to practice whiteboarding when you're studying algorithms. And two, to have a core reference. A very popular book is called Cracking the Coding Interviews. And there's quite a bit of algorithmic type of questions and their solutions. So if you use a reference like this and actually try to talk through the solutions, writing it out on a whiteboard, this would be extremely great practice, not just coding it on your computer. And the reason why is because when you're interviewing, these are the type of questions that you get, and you're not going to be expected to all the time have a computer to write out the code. They're going to want to just see you in front of a white blank board and then just spit it out and talk through it. And this book does a good job with providing a lot of common algorithmic questions that you might run into. The other thing I'd like to mention is if you're doing this and practicing on a whiteboard, it's good to try to have a buddy that you could do this with so they could ask you questions and you answer it and play the role of them being the interviewer and you being the interviewee. Now, I also have a course on interviewing if you want to dig deep into that, and that's called Nailing Your C# Interview. So feel free to check that out because I talk about a lot of different types of interviews that you need to prepare for and questions that can come up. Questions that specifically came up during my career, specifically under the umbrella of .NET. Now, something that I try to do is if I want to get good at something, I want to make sure I have fun doing it. And I find that meetup groups are a good way to do this. Meetup has become an incredibly popular website, and there's so many different types of groups associated with it, especially in the realm of technology. Now, I can go ahead here and type in .NET, make sure I click on groups, and see what type of .NET groups come up with. I'm a member of several of them, and when I go, I've gotten used to going to some of them that have really good events, really good speakers, and you can go ahead and set up your own event so that you could be a speaker and give some presentation, and they can be focused on algorithms. I actually have a meetup group myself that I started out called C# Entertainment, and that's because I wanted to invite different speakers to talk about C# and .NET and also do it in a fun way. So I actually have a comedian and a musician that's there, part of the show, and it makes learning technology for me and a few other people that come to the events fun. Let me go ahead and type in algorithms and see what comes up here. And look at that. There's a few groups specific with algorithms. Algorithms and alcohol. Look, there's almost any type of group that shows up. Technical interview study group. So that's probably one where they have some events where algorithms come up. And so this is another great way that you could discover partners that you could practice with if you want to get good at being interviewed and also interviewing, rather than just sitting down and just going through a book and coding and you're all on your own. So that's it. Even though there's a lot to algorithms and many different forms of it that you could study, don't get overwhelmed. Just make it a fun process. And before you know it, people will be coming to you to get advice on how to get good at it.